Vadanti tat tat vadanti tat tatvavidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdyate. In the purport, it is said, the absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So everybody is looking to understand the truth, the absolute truth, final truth. We all know that God exists. But how to define that God? Where is He? Does He have a form or does He not have a form? He is everywhere, we all know it. Then what is His particular form? When we are not able to define Him in a particular form, we call Him formless. That formless, sometimes people will say, oh, he's just a super conscious energy. And that super conscious energy is Brahman, which is formless. That God particle or that God, whomever you are looking, that energy is in the living entities or the non-living entities. It's in the sky. That God whom you are trying to understand is like the sky, spread everywhere. But you cannot touch the sky. It seems like it is there. It is like the space. But you cannot touch it. So God is like that, like the space. But He is there. His presence is there, but He is like the space. Nobody can touch it. God is like the water. It's everywhere on earth. It's outside. It's in our body, 70%. The water has some color. It looks like it has some color. But when you go near it, it has no color. So God is like that. He may appear as Ram, Lakshmana, Ram, Krishna. He has some blue color, we say. Or Shiva has blue color, we say. Or he becomes Devi, the energy part, red color, this color, that color. But actually they have no color. They're colorless. Who can define them? They are pure. Just like the water. They're like Ganges, ever-flowing, everywhere. So this God, people are trying to define in so many ways. This God is huge, strong, just like the mountains. No one can measure the Himalayas or the Kailasha. So God is like Kailasha. Nobody can measure the depth of ocean. So God is like that ocean. God lives in the ocean. Like Vishnu lives in the ocean. Shiva lives in the Kailasha. People try to define God in various forms. God is in the trees. So God is like the fig tree. Because when you see the banana tree, it is huge. Its roots go so far. So God is like the tree. People try to define God in different ways. But there is no one form by which you can define God. So they say energy itself transforms into so many things. That God is formless. It is a super conscious energy. That they say is as Brahm. Then there's another class, they'll say, oh, we can realize a Brahm. It appears as light. It appears as sound. That is Brahma. The definition of Brahma is sky is Brahma. Air is Brahma, ether is Brahma, earth is Brahma, water is Brahma. This is the definition of Brahma. The super conscious energy, God which is formless. Consciousness is Brahma, God which is formless. Then comes the second feature, Paramatma. So this Brahma is in non-living and living everything. Because as I told you, all the 5 elements are Brahma elements. But this Brahma entered into the heart of all living entities. When it enters into the heart of all living entities, it appears as Paramatma, the super soul. So same thing which is outside is now as consciousness in the living entities, and that is called as soul or the super soul or the spirit. That is called as Paramatma. But then there is another class of thinkers who will say, who made this intelligent scheme? From where did all these forms come? You say the energy converted itself into so many forms, but from where did the energy come? And who is that controller behind this? How is everything running in such perfect order? Whether there are human beings or not, everything is being provided. Who is that intelligent force? From where? People try to define it as nature, material nature, so many things. But here in Bhagavad, they say that person has a form. And that person is Bhagwan. That Bhagwan incarnates from time to time to give knowledge to everybody. So there is a Bhagwan which has a form, and that Bhagwan is Krishna. Then what is that light and the sound which the yogis see in the meditation? That light and sound, they'll say the light is Brahma Jyoti. It comes from Bhagwan's planet. It's like, here they will give an example. I'll read the example, it's better to read. These 3 divine aspects can be explained by the example of sun, which has 3 parts: the sunshine, the sun surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun surface is further advanced, and one who can enter the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are simply satisfied by understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to the knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal feature of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagwan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists, although all students who are engaged in the study of absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the planet, of the sun planet, cannot be separated from one another. And yet, the students of the 3 different phases are not in the same category. So here he has explained now clearly with the example of sun. The sun, when you study the sun, The sun has its rays. So if somebody just studies the sunshine, sun rays, temperature of the sun, he is one student, he is understanding the sun, but he has understood it partly. Then someone will go deeper. And there is somebody who will actually go to the sun planet to try to understand why so much of heat. So anybody who knows all the three actually knows the science of sun. Similarly, in spiritual science, this is spiritual science. Anybody who knows this Brahman feature, means the formless, means God aspect in everything, that is the Brahman feature. Anybody who understands the Paramatma feature, that is God in everybody's hearts. And the third person who understands these two as well as who is Bhagwan himself, that same Bhagwan who incarnated as Krishna and Rama. Anybody who knows all this, that person is knowing the entire spiritual science. Even though all the three of them are learning spiritual science, but one has only understood the Brahman feature, the Brahma Jyoti, the light, which is the impersonal feature. The other one has understood that same impersonal feature, but localized in the hearts. But a third one will understand within the hearts, without the, even outside this body, even beyond this planet, there is a spiritual planet, and in that spiritual planet, God lives. One who understands all this science is the person who has perfectly understood it.